Hi, I'm Milan. In this video, I'm going to be introducing you to bookmarks and how they can help you save time and be more productive in Power BI. Bookmarks are a powerful tool in Power BI that allow you to very quickly navigate between pages or views in a report. They're a great way for you to save your place when working in a large or complex report and allow you to quickly navigate between pages, views, or states when presenting to others. In this video, I'll be showing you 3 ways in which you can use bookmarks in Power BI, so stay tuned. Now, if you're anything like me, you learn by doing. So let's get straight into it. What we have here is a sales report, which shows the internet sales by month to date, your profit for month to date, and your profit month on month, your change from the previous month. There are some other KPIs, such as your sales versus last year, rolling 12 months, and so on. And this is effectively a report in progress. What I want to do with this report is create a few bookmarks. So the first type of bookmark I'm going to create is one that helps me save a state. So I mentioned that with a bookmark, you can very quickly navigate within a page. And that's what I want to do. I want to start off by creating a reset bookmark. So if the user were to select a bar on this chart and they couldn't figure out how to go back to the unfiltered state, then having a reset button is a great way to help. So let's do that. The first thing you need to do is be in the state that you want to save your bookmark in. So we're in an unfiltered state, which is what we want. From here, we need to go to View and Bookmarks, and this is how we'll create our first bookmark. We go to Add on the right over here, and what you can see is there are check marks next to Data, Display, Current Page, and All Visuals. For this reset bookmark, this is what we want. We want the bookmark to come back to an unfiltered state, in which case we will check this data, we will keep it checked, and we also want the bookmark to show all visuals as they are. So we will keep all of these checked because that is what we want. So we can simply rename this bookmark to Reset. So now, if I were to select a column, let's say I was a very new report user and I didn't know how to get back to an unfiltered state, click on Reset and it will take you back. However, as a report user, they're not going to actually see this bookmarks pane on the right. So what you want to do is add a button. If we go to Insert on the top left, go to Buttons, you can add in any type of button that you want. But let's just go with the Reset button to keep things simple. And let's bring it here on the top right. What you can do with this is you can format it how you want. You can maybe write Reset next to it. So let's just do that. That makes it more clear. You can also add borders, change colors, and so on. But for now, let's leave it as it is. You need to add an action to it. Otherwise, it won't do anything when you click on it. So select the button, add an action. And that action will be a bookmark type, and the bookmark will be Reset. So now, if I were to click on a pie on this donut chart and click on the Reset button, it will take me back to the unfiltered state on this page in the report. So that's one way in which you can use a bookmark. Now, what else do I want to do with this? Well, let's create another bookmark that allows me to switch between filtered states. For example, let's say that for this report, there are 3 main users. One who wants to know information about the United States, and another one who wants to see information about the United Kingdom. So let's stick with those 2 for now, and I'll create 2 bookmarks to show you how they work and how they can be used. What we want to do is create a filtered state in this report page. So if we go to Filters, and as you can see, filters on this page, we want to add a filter here. So for that, we go to geography table and bring in region. Now we have our regions. So let's start with the US. We can filter it. As you can see, the entire page on the report filters to show data from only the US. What we can also do is add other filters here as well. So let's say our key stakeholder only wants to know data about the US and bikes. We can bring in a product category, bring in name, and filter on bikes. Now that we have these two filters active, what we want to do is create a bookmark so that the user can very quickly navigate to this filtered state without having to select multiple filters. So let's add a bookmark in the state that we're in. We want to keep data checked again. Everything can be checked as it is. And update this, or rename it, to, let's say, US bikes. Just so we know what the bookmark is going to take us to. What we can do now is change the filters. So let's say our stakeholder who wants to know information about the UK wants to know about accessories more than anything else. Well, we can change the filter to show only accessories. And we can change the region so that it only shows data for the United Kingdom. Now we have our second filtered state in this report. We can add a new bookmark and rename this to UK accessories. What we can do from here is add in more buttons. So we can either add in blank buttons, and with these we can filter them as we want. Or what you can also do is add in a bookmark navigator. But just understand that a bookmark navigator will give you a list of all the bookmarks, which can be useful if you want to use it in that way. But for the purpose of this example, I'm going to use these buttons to show you how they work. So let's bring in a button. We can format this, rename it, do what we want. Let's add in some text and say US bikes. We can, of course, change the formatting as well. So, for instance, you can change the appearance of it if you were to hover over it or select it. So we can go to on hover style. We can add in a fill with a light gray. And now when you hover over it, you can see the format, the style changes. I'll leave it like that for now, because that's not the purpose of this video. What we want to do is go to action here, click on. Our type will be a bookmark again, and we can go to US bikes. So now, if I were to click on reset, let's have a look at what happens to the filters. The filters become reset. There are no filters on the page. We're back to our original view, which is exactly what we want. And if I click on US bikes, then the report page is filtered on bikes in the US. And that is what we want. So now we know how to add bookmarks. Let's add in our second one for UK accessories. We already have our bookmark, so all we need to do is take this button. We can copy and paste it. So if you've already done formatting work on your button, then you can use this to very quickly add in a second button. All we have to do is change the text. So what I've done is change the state on hover. So what you will see is if I hover over it, the text changes. I didn't quite want to do that. I actually want to change the text for the default state. And at any state now, when you hover over it, when you press it, it will say UK accessories, which is what we want. But again, the most important thing is to now change our action and change the bookmark to UK accessories. Now that we have that, we can navigate between these three states. If I were to click on UK accessories, shows me data for the UK filtered to accessories only. If I were to select UK bikes, it would do the same for the entire report page, and if I were to click on reset, then it will take me back to the original state. So this is how bookmarks can be used to increase productivity. And by that, I mean, if without these bookmarks, the user would have to use slicers. So you may have added slicers onto the page. You would then need to have a slicer for region and a second slicer for product category. And then the user would need to select the region and select the product category to go to what they want. However, if there is always a state that they want to navigate to, then bookmarks can come in handy. And as I mentioned earlier, they can also come in handy for when you're doing presentations to others, because you don't need to go in and select individual filters yourself. You can have pre-filtered states, bookmark them, and navigate to them. So that's one way in which you can use bookmarks. The second way, which I will show very quickly, is that you can imagine having a larger report where you have a landing page. You can have a landing page with these types of buttons in there that help you navigate to a specific page, but also to one that is filtered. So, for example, if I were to create a new page, I'm just going to change the canvas settings to make it 4K. So now that we have our 4K canvas, what I am going to do is add another button. I'm only going to add one. And let's call it UK accessories. And I'm hoping you can tell where I'm going with this. What we're going to do now is simply add in an action. Go to bookmark and UK accessories. Now imagine a landing page which is divided into different pages, and then within each page you can navigate to pre-filtered versions of that page. So UK accessories, this will take us back to page 1 in the pre-filtered state. So it's only showing us UK accessories. So this is a second way in which you can use bookmarks. Alright, now that we've reset the page, the third and final way that I want to show you is how you can use bookmarks to hide and show individual elements within a page. So, for example, we have our donut chart here, internet sales for the month to date by region. Let's say we want to have two buttons. We want to show either a donut chart or a column chart. Well, how do we do that? Through the use of bookmarks. So let's copy and paste this donut chart. We can put it on top of the original. We can change it into a clustered column chart. Let's bring in some color again. So we want to bring in region into our legend. All right, so how does a user navigate between either showing this or the donut chart? Well, the first thing we need to do is go back to our View tab. Now we want to bring in the selection pane. As you can see, this column chart is already selected and it's showing us what we're on. If I show or hide this, then you can see how our view changes. I am, by the way, going to just update the title. Alright, so we can use this pane to hide or show that particular visualization. But again, the end user isn't going to see this pane, so how do we bring it in a button? Well, this is where bookmarks come in once again. So what I'm going to do this time around is select this particular visualization, which is the column chart. I'm going to add a bookmark. To this, I'm going to only use selected visuals. So now that you can see the check mark has gone from all visuals to selected visuals. And I'm going to uncheck data. What I want to do is allow the user to make selections, and if they were to choose between having a donut chart or a column chart, then the selections will still remain and the visuals will still be filtered. So let's rename this to column chart. And I'm just going to update it. Now I'm going to hide this visual. I'm going to select it again, add a new bookmark, rename it to donut chart. I'm going to uncheck the data and check on only selected visuals again and update this. Now you can see if we were to navigate between the two bookmarks, it brings us one or the other. Now how do we implement this into our report? Well, we do the same as what we've done before. What we can do is insert a button. We can use a blank button once more. In this button, I'm going to add in text, which will say donut chart. And the action will be to navigate to the bookmark called donut chart. I am then going to make a copy of this, put it next to it. The action will now be column chart for this one, and I'm going to update the text. And there we are. Now, if the user were to select column chart, then we get the column chart, and if the user wanted to only see the donut chart, then they can go back to the donut chart by selecting this button. Of course, you can do a lot more with the look and feel of these buttons so that the selected state changes to make it more obvious which state is being selected. Now, the thing that I mentioned earlier about unchecking the data over here is what I will now show you. So if I were to select let's select Cambridge. As you can see, the donut chart filters, and pretty much everything on the page actually filters to show Cambridge, which is great. Now, because I have unchecked data here, if I click on column chart, then what you will see is that the data in this visual has also filtered. So now you can only see the data for Cambridge in the darker colors, and everything else is basically grayed out. And if I go back to the donut chart, again, my filter has remained, my selection has remained, which is exactly what I want. Again, if I hadn't selected or unselected data, if data was still selected, then it would go back to the default state, the state that the data was in when I created the bookmark. And there we are. That is 3 ways in which you can use bookmarks. The first is to navigate within a page to go to a pre-filtered state. The second is to navigate to a pre-filtered page. And the third is to hide and show elements. So I hope you found this useful. Please leave a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to learn more about Power BI and data visualization.